Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Three tips here, and what we're going to do, we're going to use some pure silver crystal here and make some electrolyte to get our electrolytic silver cell running. And what we'll do is I'm going to add about 600 grams of pure silver to this beaker. There's 602 grams. Add another spoon here so that I have an excess amount of silver in there. Now let's set this up on the heat source, and I'm going to add some distilled water to this up to about the 600 milliliter level. I've got 600 grams of pure silver back here in this beaker with water on it. We're going to use 0.6 milliliters, 600 grams of silver times 0.6 milliliters of nitric acid. So I'm going to measure out 360 milliliters of nitric acid. I'm going to try to get that silver to dissolve. Nitric acid, I'm going to measure out approximately 360 milliliters in this beaker right here. Might go a little over that. There we go. This is my nitric acid delivery apparatus. It's just a separatory funnel, and I'm going to add the nitric acid into this funnel right now. Pouring carefully. I'm going to go ahead and start slowly dripping some of our nitric acid down into our silver down here. Just want it going in kind of slow. And we'll add some heat. Not much, just a little bit. And allow this to react and dissolve our silver to make electrolyte for the electrolytic silver cell. This is the first time I've tried to make the electrolyte using a specific amount of nitric acid. Normally I just go by the seat of my pants, and I'm dripping in slowly so I don't have to monitor it closely. And if you look up here, all that nitric has traveled down into our reaction vessel, and we still got lots of silver in there. So I think what I'm going to do is charge it back up with a little bit more nitric and see if we can get a little bit more of that silver to go in solution. Tried 0.6 times 600. Tried 360 milliliters. That wasn't enough, so I'm going to add about 0.2 more. 0.2 times 600. That'll be 120 more milliliters of nitric acid. That'll give us a total of 0.8 milliliters of nitric acid per gram of pure silver. Nitric acid, and we're just going to go just a touch over 100 milliliters in our beaker here. Here we go. Let's put this in our funnel. Got the valve shut off. to add a little bit more water to this. And water provides a medium for the acid, or for the silver rather, to dissolve into. That's why we add the additional water and not straight nitric acid. Now let's go ahead and start dripping some of this in. I have to do this real slow because everything's hot down in there. Slow drip of nitric acid. See if we can get a little bit more of this silver to go into solution. To tell you the truth, I do not know why I chose to do it like this. I normally just calculate an amount of nitric and dump it in slowly and let it react until everything gets dissolved and all the fumes go away. But I guess I was just trying to make some more interesting content by taking my time and letting it drip in slowly using my nitric acid delivery apparatus. Should have this complete now. I've got a vigorous boil, no fume production, and a little bit of silver left down at the bottom of the beaker. So we'll go ahead and shut the heat off and let this cool down. I've allowed our solution to cool off completely. So we're going to set up a filter flask here and filter the liquid. Here the electrolyte looks good, but there is some foreign substance sticking inside the inside wall of that beaker. I wasn't quite sure what that was. And this funnel I reserve for filtering silver solutions only. I don't filter any gold solutions through that 12.5 centimeter Buckner funnel, only silver. But I have used it to filter some dirty silver solutions through it, and I think there may have been a little bit of contamination inside that funnel. While this filters out, I'll add some water to the remaining silver in here, and we'll dissolve this with a little bit more nitric acid and use it to supplement the electrolyte in the silver cell as it operates. I've never seen this happen in the 15 years that I've been doing this. The stuff is changing color. I've never seen that happen. So what we'll do is pull it back through the same filter a second time. Never fails. When I go to make a video, something goes wrong. Unbelievable. See the color of that stuff? Should be crystal clear and colorless like water. And I noticed in my water jug here that there's some kind of contamination in this water. I think that's what's causing it. I don't know what that is. You can see it's kind of discolored down here. I have no clue what that is. Unbelievable. All right, I guess we'll just have to scrap this one and pull the silver out of here with some hydrochloric acid, make silver chloride, and convert it to pure silver with lye and sugar. Okay, this was a total flop. I wasted all that time trying to make electrolyte from my silver cell. I don't think it was the silver. I think it was some contamination from the water that I was using. And so what we'll do is just turn this into silver chloride with some hydrochloric acid. There we go. We're going to add this to a beaker. I don't know what that is, man. That is bizarre. I've never seen that before. I'm not going to use it for my silver cell, I'll tell you that right now, because I don't know what's in here. Looks like chlorinated water in the distilled water bottle. That wouldn't surprise me, or some kind of contamination in the distilled water that I was using. Here we go. We're going to convert this silver nitrate to silver chloride with hydrochloric acid. Watch this. Look at that. That stuff, man. It's thick. Probably should have used a bigger beaker. Thick, like ice cream. Yeah. I'm gonna get the silver cell running using this junk. So I'll probably just rinse this off real good, add it to my silver chloride collection, and then do a conversion to pure silver with lye and sugar. Here's the original beaker that we were using to make the electrolyte. Look up here, there's some kind of junk. I don't know what that is. Somehow some kind of contamination got into my when I was making my electrolyte. So we're going to get this out of the way. This is the silver chloride that we precipitated out. And what we'll do is it's turned color because it's been exposed to the light. So I'll convert this silver chloride to pure silver with lye and sugar, but I'm not going to do it in this video. I'm going to move this out of the way for right now. Here's some more silver in this container. I'll measure this out now and see what we got in here. Carefully. Bang! 620 grams. It's the perfect amount to make our electrolyte. So now we'll transfer the silver into this beaker up on our heat source. Your silver crystal going in. What we'll do is try to dissolve 600 grams of our silver. We're going to use 0.8 milliliters of nitric acid. So that's going to be about 480 milliliters of nitric acid. All right, let's turn this around so we can see the milliliters on there. And I'm going to add I'm going to fill it up to about the 1 liter level of distilled water. I'm going to measure out approximately 480 milliliters in this beaker. Okay, let's get in here. And we're going to add some acid in here. I'm using a bigger beaker so we can kind of pour the acid in a little quicker and get this thing rolling, since we burn up so much time on the last attempt to make our electrolytes. We're just going to go ahead and add this acid a little quicker instead of leaking it in like we did last time. Yeah, this is the best way to make this electrolyte. Just go ahead and calculate how much nitric I need to add, put it in a big beaker, start adding the nitric, and then crank the heat up as I go until we get a little bit of silver left in the bottom of the beaker. with no more nitric acid fumes and a vigorous boil. This is perfect. This is what we want to see. A rolling boil. A little bit of silver left down in the bottom of the container. No fumes. I'm going to turn the heat off now and let this cool down. This is cool enough to touch now. Still a little bit on the warm side. So what I'm going to do is add some distilled water to cool it off a little bit. Now we'll take this over to the silver cell and filter it the old-fashioned way and set up our silver cell over there. Here we go. Here I chose to use a old-fashioned gravity flow glass funnel with a filter paper rather than trying to pull it through with a vacuum in that Buckner funnel. I've used that Buckner funnel to filter dirty silver solutions, and I believe there may have been some contamination inside that Buckner funnel, and that's where the contamination came from on our first attempt to make the electrolyte. I've got all that liquid filtered down into the silver cell. I'm going to go ahead and add some distilled water now to top it off to within about 1/2 inch of the top of the bowl. Set the cover on here. Cover this up so we don't get any junk falling down in here. And this little bit of silver that's left in this beaker right here, we'll dissolve that with some hot dilute nitric acid and use it to supplement the electrolyte in the cell as the cell operates. Okay, we've got our anode filter prepared here. It's just a little food cup with some holes drilled in it. I've cut out the top, saved the outer portion of the top, and I'll use that as a retainer ring to hold the Dacron filter bag down into the anode filter. So now what we'll do is I've got some silver back here in this bucket. This is impure silver, and we're going to fill up the anode basket now with this 98% impure silver. I get this from my gold refining. Whenever I unquart the gold and pull the silver, whenever I unquart the gold, I use hot dilute nitric acid to pull the silver out of the gold. And I recover that silver and then cement it out on copper and then melt it into shot. And that's what this stuff is here. It's about 20 pounds of impure silver back here in this bucket. Let's go ahead and pull this cover off of here. We're going to take our anode basket, drop it down in the hole, and the bottom of that basket will be submerged in the electrolyte in here. It will make contact with the silver that's in this bag. Here's the anode electrode bar. We set that on top of here. And then if you look up, you'll see that I have a power supply set up here. And our anode electrode bar will go into the positive side of the power supply up here. Adjust our anode bar so it sits correctly on here. We want it to set flat and make as much contact with the impure silver in here as possible. So now let's energize our power supply. I've got the negative side connected to the rubber, or not the rubber, the copper strap that's connected to the stainless steel bowl down here. The stainless steel bowl is the cathode. I've got the negative side of the power supply connected to the cathode. So now we're going to energize our power supply and see what kind of current flow we have going through the cell. Looks like about 3.6 amps of current flow going through the cell. Okay, what's happening here? Positive side of the power supply goes down through this wire down to the anode electrode bar right here, which, by the way, I have some of these made up and listed on my eBay site for sale. The anode electrode bar makes contact with the impure silver in this anode filter basket. The action of the electricity flowing through here that's down inside the bottom of this anode filter is making contact down here with the electrolyte, and that completes the circuit so that the current flow can go through the silver, travel down through the electrolyte, and start plating out inside of our cathode, which is the stainless steel bowl, as high purity silver. And of course the current flow travels up through that copper strap that I have connected to the back of the stainless steel bowl, completing the circuit back up to the power supply. What I'll do now is just go ahead and add this remaining little bit of silver that's in the bottom of this beaker to this beaker up here on the heat, and we'll add some nitric acid in there, and we'll get this little bit of silver that I'm dumping in here, we'll get it dissolved and use that to augment the electrolyte in the silver cell. Adding a touch of nitric acid to this to begin dissolving the silver. Not very much, it's a small beaker. And we'll dissolve that silver and use it to supplement the electrolyte in the silver cell. Okay, if you look down in here, we've only been running for a couple of minutes, but you can see that we're already starting to form pure silver crystals down inside of our electrolytic silver cell. We're running the cell at 3.5 volts in constant voltage mode, and at that voltage we're pulling about 3.9 amps. And let's look down inside the cell and see what we got going on in here. I've been editing the video, so this thing has been in operation for about an hour and a half. Let's see what we got going on inside of here. Oh yeah, look at that, man. Look at that beautiful pure silver crystal already starting to form down in our silver cell. You'll notice that it's turning blue. That's because there's a little bit of copper in our impure silver shot that we're feeding into the anode filter basket. The electrolytic action is dissolving the silver, and the silver ions travel through that electrolyte down in there, and then they begin depositing on the stainless steel bowl, which is the cathode. This thing will crank out about 5 troy ounces of pure silver per day for me. And we'll just let this thing run until it gets full of silver, and then we'll do a silver cell harvest. My last harvest, I pulled 2.4 kilos of pure silver out of the silver cell for about a 2-week run of the silver cell. Okay, this will conclude the video, and I'd like to thank everyone for watching.